Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's maybe forget the hype around the newest JavaScript framework for just a second.
Just for a moment.
Yeah, just for a moment. We're looking at something, well, surprisingly resilient, still really powerful in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby on Rails.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be hitting that sweet spot for, a lot of projects. Gives you that rapid development, but you don't sacrifice scalability or maintainability.
Right. And that applies whether you're a small startup or even a, huge enterprise.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone's chasing the new shiny thing, but Rails has just quietly kept delivering.
Yeah.
Its strength, like handling really complex business logic, large user bases things, crucial for big companies. They haven't gone away.
Not at all.
And for startups, that speed to get something out there, but without creating a mess down the line, that's gold.
It really is. So to kind of get a handle on who the main players are in the Rails space right now, we've been digging into a recent article from thoughtbot. It highlights some of the top Ruby on Rails consultancies for 2025. They give it like a quick guide if you're maybe considering a Rails project, or even if you're just curious about who's leading the charge.
Yeah, that sounds useful. Now, we should probably mention thoughtbot. They're a big name in Rails themselves, right?
Yeah.
So they're naturally offering their perspective here.
Sure.
But to give you the full picture, we're not just looking at their view. We'll explore the other consultancies they recommend too. The idea is to be transparent, really support the wider Rails community.
Right. So our mission today, pretty straightforward. We want to pull out the key insights, like what makes a great Ruby on Rails consultancy now in 2025, and also showcase the unique strengths of several of these top firms. Okay, let's dive in. First off, why is Ruby on Rails still such a powerful choice today?
Well, the thoughtbot article hits on some core advantages. First one, developer productivity. It's just undeniable with Rails. The syntax is elegant, and that whole convention over configuration idea means developers write way less code compared to, say, a lot of Node.js or PHP setups.
Yeah, that translates directly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Faster turnaround, getting features out quicker.
Exactly. And that convention over configuration point you raised, it's huge.
Isn't it just Rails gives you sensible defaults, so you focus on your app's unique stuff, not endless configuration choices.
Precisely. And then you've got the gems, the whole ecosystem.
Oh, yeah, the gems. Massive library.
It's a mature ecosystem, and that's a massive plus. Think about almost any common task authentication, payments, handling images. There's probably a well-tested, reliable gem ready to go. It's like having pre-built components.
Like Lego blocks for your app.
Exactly. It saves so much development time compared to building everything from scratch, which, can happen more often with newer frameworks, maybe like Node.js sometimes.
And it's not just speed, right? It's about building things properly from the start. Rails kind of nudges you towards best practices.
Like MVC architecture.
Yeah, model view controller keeps things organized, maintainable. Plus, testing and security are kind of baked in.
That's a great point. While other frameworks, maybe Express.js and Node or Laravel and PHP, they're flexible, sure.
Right.
But getting that same level of built-in structure and those best practices often takes more effort, more setup. Rails gives you that solid foundation immediately.
And one thing I always found interesting is how Rails is a proper full-stack framework. It handles the front end, the back end, all tightly integrated.
Yeah.
That feels a bit different from, say, Django sometimes, or definitely many node setups where you're piecing things together more.
It does. And what's fascinating, really, is how all that, the full stack nature, the conventions, the gems, it frees up the team.
It frees them up. How?
To focus on the business logic, the unique value your application offers. They spend less time wrestling with the underlying tech and integrations, more time solving actual user problems.
Makes sense. Okay, so the article we're using as a guide here is from thoughtbot. They obviously know their stuff. They've been using Rails for, over 20 years? Yeah, a long time.
So what's their core approach, according to the article?
Well, thoughtbot seems to push a really holistic view. It's not just about the code for them.
Okay.
Obviously, they have deep technical chops in Rails, but they also heavily integrate human-centered design, making sure the software actually works for the people using it.
Right, usability.
Exactly. And they're big on test-driven development, TDD, which, leads to more reliable, more robust applications in the end.
And they seem pretty committed to the community, too. I saw mentions of their blog, podcasts like ours, open source work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That sharing of knowledge, contributing back, it's often a good sign of a well-established, reputable consultancy.
Good point.
And they also talk about a collaborative, transparent process with clients, keeping them in the loop.
Okay. But as they admit, different projects need different things. Maybe another consultancy is a better fit sometimes. So who else do they recommend?
Right. So first up on the recommended list is Hashrocket.
Hashrocket. Okay, what's their angle? What makes them stand out? What's really interesting with Hashrocket is they talk about having this team of polyglot programmers skilled in lots of things, but really excelling in Rails. And they're big advocates for pair programming by default.
Pair programming. So 2 developers, 1 keyboard, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Working together on the same code at the same time. They argue it has huge benefits, faster knowledge sharing in the team.
I can see that.
And ultimately better code quality because you've got constant review, constant collaboration built right in. It's like a live code review all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. 2 pairs of eyes from the get-go.
Yeah.
And the article mentions they're also longtime community contributors.
Exactly. They've been around, active in the Rails scene for ages, contributing open source stuff, running developer events. Their history and engagement speak volumes.
Okay. Hashrocket pair programming focus. Got it. Who's next?
Next, thoughtbot points to Bendyworks.
Bendyworks. They're out of Madison, Wisconsin. The article uses this phrase, Midwestern sensibility. What does that imply in like a software context?
Huh. Yeah, it's an interesting phrase, isn't it? But it seems to point towards a really collaborative style and a big emphasis on what they call sustainable code practices.
Sustainable code, meaning?
Meaning code that's built not just to work now, but to be maintainable long term. Code that can evolve without turning into this, giant technical headache later on.
Right, avoiding technical debt.
Exactly. And they also seem to prioritize building really lasting partnerships with their clients. Suggests it's more than just delivering the code and walking away.
So less transactional, more about building something durable together. Okay, makes sense. Bendyworks. Who follows them?
That would be Test Double.
Yeah.
And, well, their name gives a pretty big clue about one of their main strengths.
Right. Test Double. Testing. They've got a strong reputation, the article says, for software craftsmanship and technical excellence. And their team focuses on high-quality, maintainable Rails solutions.
Yes, exactly. That deep focus on testing practices really seems to be a key differentiator for them. They're known for being rigorous about ensuring code quality through really comprehensive testing.
So quality and reliability are paramount for them.
Seems like it. And they also have this reputation for tackling really complex technical problems with a very thoughtful, well-considered approach if you've got a particularly tricky challenge.
They might be the ones to call.
That seems to be the implication, yeah. Test Double for the tough, intricate stuff where quality is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay. Test Double craftsmanship, deep testing focus. And the last one highlighted, Planet Argon. What's their niche?
Planet Argon has really carved out a specific and I think really important niche. They specialize in maintaining and improving existing Rails applications.
Ah, okay. So not necessarily building from scratch.
Not primarily, it seems. They're positioned as the go-to choice for companies that already have a Rails app running and need help modernizing it, adding features, or just keeping it healthy and secure.
That's crucial. So many businesses rely on older established Rails apps.
Absolutely. It's a huge part of the ecosystem. And their experience with these, sometimes legacy Rails applications and their systematic way of handling upgrades and improvements that really sets them apart.
Yeah, that takes a different skill set than starting fresh.
It really does. And Planet Argon seems to have built deep expertise there.
Okay, so looking back at all 5 thoughtbot, Hashrocket, Bendyworks, Test Double, and Planet Argon, what are the main takeaways for someone listening?
I think the big insight here is just how diverse the Rails consultancy landscape is. The community is really strengthened by these different approaches and specializations.
Yeah, it's not one size fits all.
Definitely not. The best choice really truly depends on what your specific project needs, what your priorities are.
Right. So just to quickly recap, thoughtbot offers that sort of end-to-end design-led approach. Hashrocket leans hard into pair programming for collaboration and quality. Bendyworks focuses on sustainable code and building lasting client relationships. Test Double brings that intense craftsmanship and testing focus, especially for complex problems.
Yep.
And Planet Argon are the specialists for looking after and modernizing those existing Rails applications.
Exactly. Each one brings something distinct to the table, a different philosophy.
So we've covered quite a bit of ground looking at the current state of Ruby on Rails consultancies. It definitely seems like there's a ton of high-caliber expertise out there if you're building or maintaining with Rails.
Absolutely. And it really highlights that, yeah, even in 2025, Rails is still a very dynamic, very powerful technology, and it's backed by this robust, diverse community of experts.
It really is. Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. When you think about all these different approaches we just talked about, the holistic design focus, the intense pairing, the sustainability angle, the deep testing, the modernization specialty, which of those strengths feels most critical for your needs? Or maybe just your interests in software development or tech partnerships generally. Even if you don't have a Rails project right now, thinking about what kind of expertise resonates most. It's interesting, right?
It is. And hey, if you want to dive even deeper into Rails best practices, maybe hear more from the folks at thoughtbot themselves. The article mentioned checking out their blog and podcasts. That could be a really valuable next step.